What's up, guys? So, like I said in the comments, I think I should make a video tutorial on how I photoshopped the Gaige and Deathtrap image, since everyone seems to like it pretty good. It's pretty easy from my point of view, but maybe you've never touched these options in Photoshop before. So I'm going to show you everything that I did to this image, and hopefully you find it helpful. And hopefully you have Photoshop. So number one, you need Photoshop. I got the latest version, but if you have an older version, you should have these options. I think they've been in the last couple Photoshops. First you have to have good images with good lighting. So that's the first thing. You know, I just took some shots with my Deathtrap in the garage and posed him the way I wanted him, because I've just never gotten good ones at conventions, since I'm wearing it most of the time. And Gaige over here, which is Viverra's. Let's see. Did I bring in that? Yeah. Okay. So I made sure I have all these layers that are not turned on, and I'll go through them one by one. So yeah, her picture's pretty awesome, so I decided to use the one you see here. That would work best, in my opinion. So the first thing is to find the images that you want to smash together to make your completed image. So, you know, starting with the background, well, you know, I wanted to use this Deathtrap image and this Gaige of Viverra's. So this background worked pretty good. So it made it look like Deathtrap. You could actually see the ground and see Deathtrap floating next to it. So if it was like way zoomed back, then it might look a little odd. And then I wanted Gaige to be kind of like cut out, so it was similar to one of the better known images on the internet of Gaige and Deathtrap. You know, I think that was like officially released by 2K and Gearbox. Instead, like Gaige was on the right side and Deathtrap was on the left side. It looked a little better because Gaige's arms, you know, on her left side, and it's summoning Deathtrap. So I decided to switch it to make it look a little better. So first thing, I don't think I need to take too much time talking about this, because everybody should know how to do this part, is to you know, take your image and get rid of all the background. Sometimes your image is easy and you can like do your you know, magnetic tool, and if it's all black you can kind of get it. But with this Gaige it wasn't so easy, because you know, she has black parts in her arm and stuff, so it didn't do that with one swoop with one click. So on this, I decided to just take the eraser tool and I don't have it selected. Select the layer, and so, you know, I did it already, but basically, you know, you erase all the edges here, and then to get the little nooks and crannies, you want to zoom in really close, you know, and just start erasing the little areas I've done that already. So that's pretty, you know, it takes a little time, but that's easy. That's pretty easy to do, so I pretty much did it. Same thing to Deathtrap. And actually, I noticed I was a little sloppy, so I'll show you how sloppy I was, but nobody cares because Deathtrap just looks so awesome already. See right there? I erased too much right there. But nobody knows. But now you do, but not until now. Okay, so ignore that. Pretend you didn't see it. So I did that, and I already actually have turned on a couple of effects that I use, and this is really easy stuff. So you know, like Gaige's layer. All you have to do is double click on that layer. Then you get this layer style menu, and this stuff is this is where the magic happens. It's really easy too. So you can see, maybe I should zoom in a little bit. So as you can see, Gaige, let's turn this back on. So I already have stroke and drop shadow turned on. Everybody knows what a drop shadow is, right? Drop shadow, it's a shadow. So you can see, let's turn both on. So you can see, you know, I wasn't perfect with the erasing of all the black around Gaige here, but I didn't have to be, because what the cool thing about Borderlands is it's cell shaded, so everything has a black border around everything. So awesome. I guess you should if you're using a picture of your cosplay, make sure you have black background, so you don't have, like, you know, white in between all, like, your hair. If you have hair, you don't have white in between here, and it'll look kind of odd if there's a lot of white going on. So yeah, take your pictures with a black background. That'll save you a lot of headache. So okay, so the first thing I do to make it more Borderlands is use stroke. So right there, you can see that gives it pretty much the cell shaded look. And I think this kind of defaults at a 3 or something, but now I have it at a 1. But you can see how, yeah, this can get a little ridiculous here. So I put it at a 1, so it's not too crazy. And then I added a drop shadow for a little more of an effect, because I'm gonna the lighting really is what makes the entire picture more lifelike, like it's in the game, not so flat. When I combine, you know, like when everything's combined, it looks like they're not from the same area. But once you stick lighting on it, that's when it starts looking like it's all under the same lit area. So yeah, I turned those two things on, and you know, you can adjust the angle. So you can adjust the angle where the drop shadow's from. So, you know, anything you have in this picture, you want it coming from the same angle. You know, if you want that little bit of detail to look right. And then, did I adjust any of this? You know, you can adjust the distance and spread and size to whatever you think feels right. So, you know, just a little bit. I just added a little bit to make it look right. Alright, so, oops. I got two keyboards here. I'm hitting the wrong keyboard. So, that's what I did with the Gaige. And then Deathtrap, I did the same thing. So he has both pretty much the same. So I put that at a 3. Gaige had a 1 on the size of the stroke, just because I felt that looked better. Yeah, so the settings are a little different. See, the distance is at 11 px, and opacity is it's at 57 when I think Gaige is like at 75 or something. It's just, you know, you just look at your image and you see what is better. And I hope I did the angle the same, like I was just telling you guys. Yeah, that's down here. Yeah, so it's shooting out the right side of the image. That's what I did for Gaige, so it looks correct. So it looks like the light's coming from one side. Yeah, so, but, you know, feel free to play around with that. So, okay, so once you have those two things, then you're ready to add more stuff. So, what shall we do first? Well, as you can see, I have a whole bunch of layers. I probably should have combined some of these things. But, yeah, see, this is where my noobness in Photoshop comes in. I probably could, like, combine some of these rectangles, but I did not, and I'm not sure how to combine. You know, you can combine things like by... Oops, still clicking on the wrong keyboard. By control and... by holding control and selecting all and group, you know, group from layer or something. But yeah, don't listen to me because I don't know how to group things correctly. So these rectangles, all right, these rectangles are for gauges. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Let's say. So I thought it would be cool. I've never seen a Gaige picture have the necromancing cubes before. So I thought it was cool to add necromancing cubes. I'm making that word up because that's what she does. She necromances Deathtrap, and the cubes are the effect. So I made a whole bunch of cubes here. And see, you can see what the effects does to these cubes. Each of these cubes, I just duplicated them all as I went. They all have inner shadow, inner glow, and outer glow. So if you're looking at that cube that I have selected, if you turn this all off, it looks like a regular cube, and with opacity down to 30%. So that's that cube. But once you turn all this on, it looks pretty cool, right? I mean, if you remember what the in-game effect looks, it kind of looks like that. And that's all I did. That's all I did. So I made a whole mess of cubes. Made them, you know, like, I made them smaller near her hand and made them bigger as they came up here. And at the top, oh, so yeah, that's one thing I decided to do here. I forgot which one it was now, but so I decided to remove a couple just so it looks a little staggered. I think it was like that one. Not that one. Nah, see, that looks too unified. That. I think it was that. Oh, and the one on her finger. I don't like it when it was like on top of her finger here. So I gotta find this one. There you go. So I thought that was looked a little cleaner where it wasn't on top of her fingers, so there you go. That's the cube effect I put. The next thing was, oh yeah, the Borderlands logo. Alright. The Borderlands logo was easy. You just go find yourself a Borderlands logo and cut out, you know, cut out the background, if you know, like the white or the black background, whatever it is. Just pop that in there. That's easy stuff. And then I decided, like the in-game UI, every time you have a Deathtrap, or I think it might be only in co-op, but if somebody has a Deathtrap out, it always has its name. Well, I got a lot more rectangles. What is all these rectangles for? So I put the name of my Deathtrap, and I thought it'd be cool if I, you know, used my cosplay name. And put 72, because 72 is the most, the highest level. And, you know, I put a little stroke and color overlay to make it look like the end game. That's pretty easy stuff. That's actually a V, a letter V, not an actual shape. I got lazy, so I took the V. Where's that thing? I took this V and warped it a bit. You know, the text. I took the text thing and I did the bulge on it, so it didn't look like a straight up V. It looked like an arrow now. So that's that. Then I added, so, alright, this is where I got a little fancy. No, I didn't. I was gonna put her name on top of her head, and then I decided she's like the main character, you know, she's like the one playing, but not really, because she's looking at the camera, so, you know, I just had to figure out what looked best. But since she's the main player, I decided to put her name down here, where the UI for, yeah, for like where the anarchy is and stuff. Why do I have all these rectangles? These are like, oh yeah, that's okay. So that's part of, yeah, so I made all this up. So, where's it? Well, there's that piece. I got that from a screenshot online, and I just erased everything around it pretty much. So that's easy stuff. And where's the other half of this? All right. I took that from some screenshot on the same screenshot, and erased everything around it. And then I decided to recreate. Then I decided to recreate all the little boxes around everything. So this is easy stuff. All right, so these are boxes. These are basically boxes. See that? That is one box. And it has a its opacity is at 58%, and the outer glow to make it, see how that, I adjusted the spread on that, see that, to how much I wanted on there. So I adjusted spread size, yeah, of this box. It's basically a box, so you know, if I move that up, why isn't that changing? Did I erase that too? So if I did 100% and took off the outer glow, where did, I think it's, oh, okay, that's what I did. Let me show you my little trick I did here. If I do this right. See, my organization's terrible. That's rectangle 11. Let's remember that. Alright, there it is. There's my little secret. That's a box that sits behind this little Deathtrap icon. So if I make the box the size of the icon, and then I add the outer glow, you won't see the hard-edged box behind it. You'll just see the glow. So that's a cool trick I just learned as I was making this. This tutorial's longer than I thought, but it's gonna. I guess this takes this long for you guys to understand properly. All right, so that's what I did there. And I did the same to this box down here. You know, I made a box that's kind of that shape, and I did the same effect. Yeah, there you go. See, I haven't turned it on yet, so there you go. Alright, so over here, I decided it looked better if I just made these, you know, these are all at like opacity 36%. Zoom in. Yeah, these are just boxes or rectangle, really long rectangles. I think in the end game actually glowed a little bit more, but I just couldn't get it perfect. So I mean, you know, you couldn't tell. Nobody would remember exactly what it looks like. But this is pretty close. So here, these are, you know, squares I made as well. And what I did, like the in-game stuff, looks, you know, it looks like it's faded here at the top. So all I did was erase these, you know, I took my eraser and I erased the top of these to make it look, you know, it's all like jaggedy like that in-game. So that's what I did here. Alright, so see how terrible my organization skills are here. Oh, that was, yeah, at first I was gonna write Legendary Catalyst here because that's what in-game usually uses, but I thought Viverra's cosplay name looked cool down here. And then we got level 72 because she's a badass. Alright, so that's everything. That's everything turned on now that I wanted turned on. Alright, now the magic of light. Oops. Nope, shit. Alright, now the magic of light. So, what you need to do is, now, what you need to do is take your I only took the images and not all this UI stuff. Because when I looked at the in-game images, the UI stuff, you know, is unaffected by the actual lighting in the world, so didn't make sense to combine those. So, oops. Okay, so you select the 3 layers that is your characters and your background. You right-click, and it is, to do this right, I think there might be a better way to do this, but convert to smart object. And you need to combine them. And you want to do convert to smart object because if you want to edit it ever again, you want to go hit edit contents and it'll split up again. Yeah, like that. Awesome. Oh, but okay. I wonder if it did this weird thing. Oh, it made it opened up a new PSD here. That's what it did. Alright, so I'm going back to the one I was using. But so that's, if you ever want to edit this ever again, that's what you need to do. Because I think if you rasterize, you've screwed yourself. Oh shit.